How is this pandemic affecting your business? Is it changing your outlook for the year?
Sure. Well, clearly the coronavirus issue is a global crisis. And as a global company with 10 offices in 4 continents and 3,500 people, we've certainly been impacted. You know, we've been saying at BeiGene for a long time, we're a headquarterless global company and we operate on Zoom. So I think we've had the benefit of being able to work pretty well remotely. But like most businesses around the world, this does have a negative impact on the operations, including clinical trial recruitment and participation and our interactions with third parties. I think that the good news is, although life's not back to normal yet in China, where some of our operations are, we have, for our research and manufacturing and for our lab and factories, been back full-time 100% for over a month. And I think for our other offices, you know, people are working remotely, and we probably have about 50% occupancy on a daily basis. I do think that we're pretty thrilled with, you know, the quick actions taken in China and the response seen by that that's enabled us to get back in the swing of things for the China part of our operations. Outside of China, of course, most people are working remotely at this point, and, you know, there's impact, but it's impact that really is more creating a double job for everyone, tracking additional work streams and working on contingency plans. But in general, you know, we're dealing with it as every company and every person, I think, around the globe is today.
John, I know BeiGene is primarily, or has primarily been focused on cancer therapies up until this point. Are you looking at any therapies around the coronavirus, any treatments in that space?
Yeah, well, we're, you know, really experts from a biological perspective in oncology, so we've maintained that focus. We do have a set of capabilities that we've been trying to understand if we can bring to bear in this area. For example, you know, we have world-class antibody manufacturing capabilities, and at some point this could come into play for antibodies or vaccines. But leading the biology is not something that we're world experts on, and we don't want to pretend we are. We do have, you know, a drug that we've in-licensed from EUSA, which, you know, has shown clinical data, and there's potential that it could be, you know, suggestively helpful. And, you know, we do have other people that are scientists and clinicians that are trying to understand if anything we have in our portfolio might be repurposed to this. But for us, you know, we don't have that expertise. We're not leading it, but we're trying to help that. We also are trying to play a big role connecting people, because we know a lot of people across the globe with expertise, and if we don't have the right expertise, we're trying to connect them and then see if there's some way that we could be helpful.
John, David here in Hong Kong. In terms of demand for your current products in the market right now, we were speaking yesterday with Sanford C. Bernstein, their analyst who covers your stock. And so essentially they did a survey, and in that survey, over 80% of hospitals in China, I believe, have seen a drop in both inpatients and outpatients. In a lot of ways, the virus has actually displaced, you know, people suffering from other types of viruses and diseases as well. Have you seen any substantial change in the demand for your oncology products?
I think that behavior certainly has changed related to patients, and probably, you know, part of the, you know, response in that is you're trying to understand which therapies are, you know, related to hospital visits versus which aren't. So from that perspective, I think that's, you know, one thing that impacts hospital-based drugs, but may not be so much of an issue for a drug that you're not visiting the hospital for. I think from the other perspective, you know, certainly that impact is there, and it's been there in China, and I think it will be there across the globe as other organizations are dealing with this situation on a time-delayed fashion. But I do think that we also are beginning to see that change and come back in China.
And John, I'm just looking at your financials here. The you guys obviously haven't turned a profit just yet. Any update on when you guys are looking to maybe turn green?
Yeah, we don't guide that, so I can't really share much more. We still very much see ourselves as a company that's investing in developing medicines, and that's something that every company aspires to. But at the moment, really, BeiGene sees itself in a situation where we're playing a unique role. The world has been challenged to have affordable medicines, and I think that we believe that we're really the one organization that's really been focused on reducing clinical costs, and we're doing that through a global approach that's inclusive of China and technology. And we think that if we can continue to build this skill and do that better, that it's going to help transform the industry to more affordable medicines. And focused on doing that, we're still at an investment stage. We do have some great products that are coming out that have been approved recently. Our BTK inhibitor, zanubrutinib in the United States, our PD-1 Tesla, which is approved in China. They're both very large potential products, and we look forward to expanding their indications and then bringing them globally where they aren't yet, and we're excited about that.
John, one of your products, Abraxane, the sale of which was banned, or suspended, I should say, by China after checking in on some of your manufacturing facilities, or your partners' manufacturing facilities in the US. Can you give us an update on that? Do you know when the suspension is likely to be lifted?
Sure. Yeah, the suspension is related to manufacturing that occurred by a contract manufacturer for Bristol Myers Squibb. It's not one of our facilities, if I may. We're concerned about it. We're taking it seriously. We know that the suspension's something which occurred. Under our agreement with Bristol Myers Squibb, they're responsible for the manufacturing and supplying of Abraxane to China. So, we haven't been involved in the inspection or their response until just before the suspension. And, naturally, we're disappointed. But this is only a minor part of who BeiGene is, and it's not a fundamental part of who we are as a company and what we're building. So we'll try to work with them as best we can, but we're not really clear on the timing. They are.